Hey, this is Gilgamesh. I went and saw this movie on the 6th of July because I remember seeing the trailer and going, wow, that looks really good. And I like Lupin the Third. I love the movies and TV show. And I was looking at this one's Lupin the Third, the movie The Immortal Bloodline. Well, here's the thing. I was looking up and I went on their Wikipedia page, and it actually goes back to the first movie. Yeah, right here. The Mystery of Namo, which is right here it says. This is, okay, Lupin III Immortal Bloodline. It's a 2025 Japanese animated film directed by, yeah. He goes, okay. Serving as the 13th Lupin film and the final entry in the Lupin III saga, it reuses plot elements from the very first movie, The Mystery of Mamo, of which it is a prequel. This was a prequel to this movie. Okay. And I was talking to somebody after seeing it. He asked the question, did this actually connect to the first? I go, yes, it does directly connect to the first movie. Yeah, because there's a lot that goes on. You don't know what's going on. You're like, okay, well, all these things in the first movie happen. And you're like, you don't get the answer until you get to this movie where it answers those questions. Like, why did all this stuff happen to Lupin? And they show you, as the movie progresses, you find out that it's all connected to the first movie. This one right here, The Mystery of Mamo. Yeah, The Secret of Mamo. Came out in 1978. Yeah. And this whole movie, it starts out, they bring you the characters. And I love the animation style because it's that very sort of 60s. They stuck with it throughout all the movies, the animated series, is to stick with that very 60s style of animation that they did in Japan at the time. And yes, the original actors, most of them have passed away. But the voice acting in this, I saw it's in Japanese with subtitles. The voice actors do a great job. And what makes this work is that Lupin's like a third generation thief. He's like the world's greatest thief. And constantly, he has his partner, sharpshooter partner, Jingen, Daisuke Jinkin. And then he has a samurai, Gyoman. Yeah, the 13th. Yeah, he's a samurai. He walks barefoot and carries a sword without a guard on it. And then his female fate, the woman he loves most, she's gorgeous as shit. And they do keep her gorgeous, is Fujiko Mimi, I think. Yeah, she's literally, Lupin's in love with her. But she doesn't reciprocate, and she's like him, a very established thief. And she can also wear disguise like he does. And what's fascinating in this is that them in the inspector, Kochi Zengata. He's the guy constantly chasing to arrest. They all get a letter in the mail with a card from from a deck of cards. The ace, king, queen, those. Yeah, that's basically they're meant to come to this island in the movie, and they go there. They get shot down. Then we meet characters from their past, like Jingen meets a man that he thought he had killed. Yeah, like I said, a lot of the plot elements come from the first movie, and you find out they're all connected to, well, the mystery of Mamo, which you find out what's really going on, who's behind this. I don't know if they're planning another movie, but yeah, this ends everything, and you find out who, what's really this guy right here. He is, yeah. His interpreter is this girl, but we find out who she is, who this is, but we eventually meet the man behind it all. And this island, you find out what's going on the island, and Lupin figures it out. That's how smart this guy is. He finally figured out what's going on, and we eventually do meet the man himself, Mamo, and we find out about this, the interpreter, the little girl, and this human who he is. Yeah. And it's really connected to this guy. This movie right here, this is, yeah. This is the first movie ever made back in the day. See, it goes the first animated feature based on the 1967-69 manga series. Yeah. By Monkey Punch. That's this guy. He's had his issues with, plagiarism and stuff, and they have solved that issue. But yeah. And essentially, they use elements of this movie to connect this to the first movie. And I noticed that right away. I remember seeing this first movie, and we find out who this man is, Mamo. He comes back in. He's basically, and it gets explained as the movie's going on, that essentially they've been brought here because Mamo is a man who's orchestrated a lot of things in the world. He's behind a lot of, kind of like our CIA. And he has this island, and we find out at the end of the movie everything about the island, what's really going on, and Lupin figures it out. That's what I love about the character. You watch the animated series, you watch the movies, you find out how smart he is, and he does figure out what's going on. And all the characters in this, you know them by now if you've like I said, read the manga or watched the animated series, or watch the movie. You get who Lupin the IIIRD is, you get who his crew is, and these characters, these five characters, the inspector. You look at it. Here's the cast. Yeah, this is the main cast. This is the English cast, voice actors. But you have and this is the voice actor who does him, and we find out who he is. We know all about him, and then we find out the man behind it all. We do see him in the movie as the movie's progressing, and it's really interesting. There's characters from the first movie. From each of them have someone from their past who's out to get them. And we find out, there's other people on the island, and and it's a fascinating story. It's not even that long of a movie. That's what makes it work. I mean, I forget how long it's like an hour, 93 minutes long. So it's not that long of a movie, and I wish more people had seen this when it came out. They don't tell you how much it costs. Usually these anime movies are not that expensive to make in Japan. But for a Lupin IIIRD fan, this was great to watch. If you get a chance to see it, it's worth watching. I mean, look at this poster. Everything about this poster, you find out as you're watching the movie, this little girl. Who is she? And you find out about him. Mom, I think it's Muom. And then eventually we meet the man behind it all who's been manipulating everything. And like I said, Lupin figures it out. He figures out about the island, what's going on, and of course, knowing the guy who's behind it all is kind of pissed off that he gets exposed. But that's Lupin. He always figures things out. I highly recommend this movie. If you get a chance to watch it, go watch the Lupin series. You can watch it on, you can see it, it's on, some of it's on Crunchyroll. So if you have Crunchyroll, you can go watch it there. You can find the movies. This series is so much fun to watch. It might even be on, you can look up where to find this, the animated stuff, the movies and everything. They're worth watching. They're really well done. The stories are good. They're solid. And like I said, it takes elements from the first movie, but it's meant to tie directly in the first movie, give you what's going on. Why is Lupin here? Why is his crew here? And you find that out as the movie goes on. So I highly, highly recommend this. So this is Gilgamesh. I will talk to you later. Bye.